most creators do wrong is they try to take on the additional responsibilities and they don't focus as much on what their core creative is. So I, for instance, my now Take a Pause, which is entirely produced by me, is now I have a full-time producer. So all I do is record my episodes and then he takes over. I have a couple of freelancers who work on, let's say, the post-production work of it, sound design, etc. So my job ends after I finish recording. All the other stuff I don't want to do because I literally sat down and said, what do I not want to do? I don't want to edit. I don't want to listen to my own voice. I don't want to do sound design. I don't want to distribute. I don't want to post. I actually took an easier route for me because for me, it was about time convenience over exact amount of money I was spending. My in-house team is about 3 people. One producer who's a senior. I've got someone who's worked in the podcast space for a while. He runs his own podcast as well. So he takes care of all of that because I understand that he and I have aesthetics in terms of the kind of music we would use, the kind of way we would put stuff out. So he takes care of that. So Peter, who works with me, Peter takes care of all of that with the people couple of people he's brought on. My editors are all freelance. They work with me on a rate card. I pay them basis how many edits we do in a month. I work with a small agency. No, I wouldn't say small. They're not small. They just work with small businesses. And I'm like, creators like a small business, right? So will you help me on this one? So they help me a lot with scheduling, with copywriting, if required for a post. Sometimes I'm getting a visualization done. Like I've shared some of these visualizations lately. I found an artist online and I asked her, how do you work? And she told me how she works. So I have to send her a 1-line, 2-line brief or something I would say as a statement. Can she visualize it into something?
Nice.
So I work with her on that. And again, it's fun because you're creating content out of what you would normally say, but you're just finding someone who's better at that medium to do.
Right.
So I feel for the creator, you need to say, okay, these are things I'm really good at and I can do. I shouldn't give that up because I suddenly have a business. What you should first hand over all invoicing, cost management, logistics, eventually scheduling. Some creators enjoy the edit, who don't want to give that up. Right. So then that's problematic because edit takes the most amount of time. I don't enjoy doing it anymore. I enjoyed when I was early days MTV Channel V. I don't enjoy it anymore. So I feel that's the thing. You need to figure that out. And eventually you are the creative director of the business. You are not necessarily the CEO of the business. If you're calling yourself a creator business as an individual creator, you should never be the CEO. You should always be the creative director. Right. And I feel that's the difference we don't necessarily take. Everyone becomes CEO. Being a CEO is a very different mindset. If you want to do that, then you become Nasser Yassin, right? Then you're saying, okay, I'm building NAS Academy. Right. The product is no longer me. Yeah. I will build more people in and eventually I think that's the game, right? All creators will either become artists or they will become entrepreneurs. The artists will get into movies, into film, do stuff occasionally, become legit like the celebrity category of artists. Or you become an entrepreneur where at some point you cannot be the product anymore. Yeah. Like eventually for me, I don't want to be the product anymore, but which is why the mediums I choose don't require me to be always on all the time. Like my Take a Pause episodes are like 3-4 minutes long. I record about 2 weeks worth in, I would say, an hour and a half. So I'm done. Like, I don't have to do that for 2.5 weeks, 2 odd weeks, because someone else in the back end is taking care of everything else. Even my podcast conversations, it's like a meeting schedule, right? You're just doing a Zoom schedule, 1 hour, you're recording in and out, you're done. And then again, it's done in the background, distributed. So eventually for me, and it always should be that way, I see it, is that if you stay the product, you will be the person with the most amount of strain and eventual burnout. If you move towards a scenario where a lot of what you do can become products, can be created in the background for you, then you are not the product. And I feel that's the curve all creators need to go through, saying eventually you cannot be the product unless you're an artist. If you're an artist, then do it how you want to do it. There are YouTubers who do 1 video a month and get massive views. You can be that. You could be a seasonal podcaster. People wait for your season to drop every year. But if you're going to be always on, then in the long term, you shouldn't be the product. You're going to burn out.